Hi, I'm Nina, and this is my video on equitable remedies. So there are two broad categories. The first one is legal remedies, which typically involve monetary damages, which would be awarded to compensate a plaintiff for loss or an injury that they may have suffered. The other category of these remedies are equitable remedies, which do not involve money damages. Instead, they require a party to act or refrain from acting, adjust or undo a legal relationship, such as like a contract. So the difference between legal and equitable remedies is that legal remedies are awarded as a matter of right. Generally, money is paid to the injured party to make them whole and to just make right of like the wrongdoing that occurred. Equitable remedies are discretionary and granted only when a simple money award would be inadequate or just wouldn't be enough. So these would include court orders requiring or preventing behavior, such as injunctions, which we will get to later in the video, undoing contracts, or compelling performance. So, a brief history of equitable remedies is that equitable remedies comes from England. In early English history, the rigid common law often failed to deliver results in situations where money wasn't an adequate solution. So petitioners could appeal to the king, and over time, these matters were handled by the Court of Chancery, or also known as the Court of Equity. So, equity focused on fairness rather than strict legal rules. So, in their case, if money wasn't available or a party couldn't pay an injured person with monetary damages, there were other acts that they could do to make the situation right. So, one foundational English case is the Earl of Oxford's case, which occurred in 1615. And this established that when equity and common law conflict, equity could prevail. So, this ended up shaping the modern view that courts can grant equitable remedies when legal ones fall short. Today, in Arizona and across the rest of the US, courts have merged law and equity procedurally, but the distinction in remedies remains meaningful. So basically, just sufficient enough in case money really isn't an option for someone. Judges can still decide whether the situation calls for equitable rather than purely monetary relief. Some different types of equitable remedies include injunctions, which orders stopping a party from doing something harmful. An example would stopping someone from continuing to do a harmful activity. Another example is specific performance, which orders requiring a party to fulfill a contract. Another example is rescission, which cancels a contract and returns the parties to their prior positions. Or there is reformation, which modifies a contract to reflect true agreement between those two parties. So, some examples from Arizona case law include Spur Industries Inc. versus Dell E Web Development. So, in this Arizona Supreme Court decision, a cattle feedlots operation near a new residential community, and it ended up producing like foul odors, and there were like flies everywhere. In the end, the court granted a permanent injunction which basically required the feedlot to cease operations because the monetary damages alone were not sufficient enough to protect those residents and the enjoyment of their property anymore. So, furthermore, the court adjusted the equities by requiring the developer to indemnify the feedlot for the losses from the injunction, which overall just kind of balanced the harm that was done. So the second case is Chiores versus Harvey. In this land contract dispute, the buyer asked the court to compel the seller to transfer land, and a request for specific performance ended up being the equitable remedy in the situation. So the trial court denied specific performance because it found that the buyer's agent had acted dishonestly, but the Arizona Supreme Court upheld that denial, and they said that a buyer cannot benefit from an agent's inequitable conduct, especially when the innocent seller should be protected. So, overall, equitable remedies play a vital role in Arizona's law whenever money can't fully address the harm or right or wrong. Overall, understanding the difference between legal and equitable remedies is very important and is essential